Dad, are you okay? Dad, Dad. Go get your mom, Amy. Get your mom. Hello? Yes, 911. Listen, I think my dad's having a heart attack. Please send an ambulance as soon as possible, please. Yeah. The address is 5134.
Where am I? What's going on?
Hello, Mr. Williams. Sorry to tell you that you suffered a devastating heart attack. Your blood pressure was 200 over 160 when they brought you in. You should be grateful to be alive. Not many folks make it with numbers like that. And if it wasn't for your granddaughter calling for your son, most likely you wouldn't have made it.
This should have been the worst moment of my life. However, it soon led me to a lengthy conversation with a medical school dropout, revealing a simple 7-second fix that safely opened up my arteries and lowered my blood pressure back down to a healthy 120 over 80. Meaning, I no longer have to worry about having another heart attack. I no longer have to worry about traumatizing my granddaughter like I did while playing with her. And I no longer have to worry about dying early and leaving my family without a grandfather. By continuing to use this remarkable 7-second fix, I can at least ensure my blood pressure stays at a healthy 120 over 80 for good. The best part is this 7-second fix hasn't just worked for me. It's worked for thousands of other Americans who've successfully used it to lower their blood pressure too. The only problem is, this simple 7-second blood pressure fix threatens Big Pharma because it's so effective you won't need to take their drugs. So I don't know how long I'll be able to keep this presentation online because they have an army of lawyers trying to stop this simple solution. Listen, if you're the kind of person who wants to lower your blood pressure and avoid causing your family trauma and heartache, and you're sick of dangerous, expensive drugs and invasive medical procedures that cost the earth yet rarely deliver results and often leave you with nasty side effects, then I'd like to invite you to watch the rest of this free video presentation and discover the blood pressure lowering secret that I learned from a medical school dropout. Keep watching and you'll be able to get amazing results, just like Donna D., who says, "My blood pressure has gotten high, and I didn't want to go back on blood pressure medication with all the harmful side effects. So I tried this, and it's working for me and has helped me lower my blood pressure. I'm so thankful I found this." Asher M. had this to say, "I've had high blood pressure since I was 24 or 25. I'm 50 now. And for the last year or two, my doctor has needed to tweak my medication because it has not controlled my blood pressure. I started this yesterday, and this is the best my pressure has been in years." And Erica says, "I was borderline hypertensive, yet within 2 weeks, my blood pressure was down to almost normal." Amazing, right? And to think it all started with my own near-death experience. By the way, my name is Jerry, and what happened to me when I had that massive heart attack in front of my precious granddaughter was terrifying, to say the least. Yet it would also eventually save my life and the lives of over 17,543 men and women across America. See, I never thought it could happen to me, but my high blood pressure had different plans. Little did I know that a rogue blood pressure molecule was causing my blood vessels to collapse, close, and constrict, tighter and tighter with each passing day, making my heart work overtime as it struggled to pump blood to my hands, feet, and brain. And if you're one of the millions of Americans concerned about high blood pressure, then you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Because based on my own experience, I can confidently say that doctors at both the Mayo Clinic and Stanford University were right when they called high blood pressure the silent killer. And that silence can often be disastrous, leaving you paralyzed, incapacitated, and forever dependent on others, or worse yet, dead. That's because high blood pressure can often lead to a heart attack or stroke because of the hardening and thickening of your arteries. It can also cause aneurysms, or the ballooning that happens when the blood vessel walls are weakened. It can cause heart failure due to the fact that your heart now has to work harder to pump blood against your collapsed and constricted blood vessels. And it can also cause any number of dozens of other potentially fatal problems. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the real reason why your blood pressure is high, how it has nothing to do with your diet, your salt intake, your lack of exercise, or any of the other things your doctor loves to blame it on, and why instead it has everything to do with one vicious rogue molecule that forces your blood vessels to literally collapse in on themselves. But don't worry, because even though high blood pressure affects almost half of all adults living here in America, thanks to new research from places like the University of California, Harvard, and Johns Hopkins, There's now a simple and effective way to fight back. A natural way that gently lowers your sky-high blood pressure and brings it safely back down to earth. The best part about this blood pressure fix is that it can all be done in less than 7 seconds per day, all from the comfort of your own home. And no matter if you're a woman or a man, whether you have severely high blood pressure or you're borderline, whether you've been on prescription drugs for 3 months, 3 years, or 3 decades. Based on new scientific evidence I'll show you today, even if you've lost hope or feel as if you've seen and tried everything, I promise you that you've never seen anything that works as well as this. I'll tell you all about it in just a moment. Before I do, however, let me start by first properly introducing myself and sharing the rest of my story with you. As I mentioned earlier, my name is Jerry. I'm a husband of 24 years, the father of 2 amazing kids, and a grandfather to a beautiful granddaughter. In other words, I'm a family man who would do anything in the world for those I love. Now, I'm not a doctor, a nutritionist, or even a personal trainer, nor do I have any formal medical training beyond my bachelor's degree in biology. But I have worked in the nutritional supplement industry for the past 22 years, doing everything from stocking shelves in a warehouse to providing customer support on the phone and everything in between. I've also worked side by side with some of the smartest and most talented doctors and scientists on the planet. Men and women who are passionate about helping others heal their bodies naturally and who I am proud to call my friends. Yet despite having access to all these brilliant minds and talented people, I'm embarrassed to say that I took them for granted. And in doing so, I failed to protect those I love most, especially my granddaughter, from one of the most tragic disasters to ever hit our family. It all started a little over 2 years ago. We were your typical American family, and we loved life. I was focused on my job, and my wife Sarah was busy working for a local animal charity. My oldest daughter Michelle had just moved back to town to start a job as a middle school science teacher, and we got to spend lots of quality time with our granddaughter, Madison. Things were great, and I'd never given so much as a second thought to my health. I felt good. I jogged 3 to 5 mornings each week and ate pretty well. I rarely drank alcohol during the week, and if I did, it was a glass of wine with a meal. Yet, as I'd soon find out, it wouldn't matter how healthy I thought I was, because the rogue blood pressure molecule I'll reveal shortly can and does affect anyone, no matter their lifestyle. Eventually, I started to feel less like myself. On the weekends, I was usually raring to go, and I'd grab my granddaughter Maddie to go on some sort of crazy adventure. But for some reason, I found myself just wanting to stay home because my energy levels were low. Then it came time for my annual physical, and like usual, I was expecting to walk in and walk out, passing all of my tests with flying colors. I mean, other than being a little tired, I felt pretty much okay. But as my doctor took my blood pressure, he started to mumble to himself. Next thing I know, he's calling the nurse in and asking her for a new blood pressure cuff, assuming that the one he was using was broken, but it wasn't. He took my blood pressure again with the new cuff, and then he looked up at me with a concerned look on his face and asked, "Jerry, are you under any sort of stress? Are you and your wife okay?" He continued, "Your blood pressure is a sky-high 159/90 right now." I couldn't believe it, and neither could my doctor. But he went on to tell me that because I lead a pretty active and healthy lifestyle, we could just monitor it, while at the same time I should cut down on excess salt and watch the stress. With this advice, I left his office and went back to work, thinking that my high blood pressure was just some sort of strange coincidence. Nothing to really worry about, right? Little did I know that this was only the beginning of a real-life nightmare that I'd never wish on anyone. Because despite being at a healthy weight, exercising regularly, and eating right, my high blood pressure didn't budge. So I did what most guys do and tried to put it out of my mind. But of course, what I didn't know at the time was that simply ignoring the rogue molecule wreaking havoc inside my arteries was the worst thing I could have done. Because the longer I left it unaddressed, the more time it had to silently destroy me from the inside out, causing my blood vessels to narrow and making them tighter and tighter with each passing day, literally choking the life out of me, and ultimately turning my heart into a landmine, ready to explode at any moment. And that moment turned out to be my granddaughter's 12th birthday. We had gone out to celebrate, and while I wasn't exactly feeling the best, I knew I couldn't disappoint my Maddie. Then, disaster struck. It happened. I started having a massive heart attack. "Oh no, Grandpa, are you okay? Grandpa, somebody help!" The next thing I knew, I was waking up in a hospital bed. As I regained consciousness, the nurse called in the doctor. And after he had walked in, he didn't waste any time. When they rolled you in, your blood pressure was 220/111. Most people with those kinds of numbers don't typically make it. It's no wonder your heart gave out. On top of that, we discovered that one of the main arteries feeding your heart was 97% blocked. So we had to go in and clean it out. To be honest, you were lucky you had the heart attack when you did, because there was a team of first responders close by, and they got to you just in the nick of time. You got lucky, but from now on, you're going to need to be on a full regimen of antihypertensive medications to keep your blood pressure under control. Just then, my wife Sarah came bursting through the door, her eyes red from crying and makeup running down her cheeks. Right behind her was my daughter Michelle, but my granddaughter Maddie was nowhere in sight. She was too upset to see me, so she waited in the hall. I felt horrible, knowing how much I had scared my precious grandchild, and I never wanted this to happen again. So I started taking the medications my doctor had prescribed, even though I knew they weren't exactly good for me, especially when I looked at the side effects and saw everything from extreme fatigue, dizziness, and blindness to constipation and even death. In fact, as I'd soon learn, according to a recent study published in the journal Stroke, researchers discovered that taking high blood pressure medications can actually increase your chances of having a stroke, while researchers from the UK found that taking popular high blood pressure medications like beta blockers didn't offer any sort of added benefit at all. And more recently, doctors from Drexel University College of Medicine identified a range of potentially fatal side effects from ACE inhibitors. I honestly thought that my life was over, and the healthy, active lifestyle I once enjoyed was all but gone. But I was wrong, because soon after that, someone came into my life who revealed the true cause of my high blood pressure, and this would change my life for good. The information they shared, all about the rogue blood pressure molecule that takes hold of our blood vessels with both hands and squeezes as hard as it can, will change your life too, giving you the strength to keep up with your children and grandkids, and the freedom from ever being forced into an old folks' home because you can no longer take care of yourself. Instead, you'll remain the strong, independent husband or wife, mom or dad, grandma or grandpa that your family has come to expect and lean on when they need you the most. And you'll feel healthy on the inside and look even healthier on the outside. So please, read the rest of this letter closely, because I don't want you to miss any of what I'm about to share next. You see, about 3 months after the day when my heart nearly gave up on me for good, I was sitting in my office, feeling terrible, because the side effects from my hypertension meds were getting the best of me, and I was starting to lose hope. The headaches, the dizziness, and the fact that I could barely get out of bed each morning due to the body aches was really taking its toll. I felt like I was sinking in quicksand with no way out. But that's when my phone rang. It was a friend of mine who I hadn't talked to in almost 2 years. Remember earlier how I told you that due to my work in the supplement industry, I was friends with some of the smartest and most talented doctors and scientists in the world? Well, this happened to be one of those scientists, and it's no exaggeration to say he quite literally saved my life. I'll call him Ryan to protect his identity. You'll see why in just a moment. Ryan works with some of the biggest natural supplement and biotechnology companies in the world and is legally bound by a stack of non-disclosure agreements. So while he did give me permission to share this information with you today, he did ask to remain anonymous. And, for lack of a better description, Ryan is the real-life Dr. Doogie Howser. Now, if you don't remember that TV show from the early 90s, it was based on the experiences of a child prodigy who was attending medical school in his teens. Ryan was a real-life child prodigy, finishing both high school and college with a degree in biochemistry before he turned 17. He then went on to attend one of the most prestigious medical schools in the country. Unfortunately, due to what he described as a conflict of interests, Ryan dropped out. He told me that after his first 2 years of medical school, it became painfully clear to him that while there were a lot of great doctors out there, the medical establishment itself wasn't exactly in the business of healing people. Instead, it was in the business of treating symptoms with medications. That didn't sit well with Ryan. He had developed a passion for healing and medicine, but he wanted no part in a drug-focused system of care that didn't actually heal its patients, so he dropped out. From there, he worked for a variety of companies in the alternative health and biotechnology spaces, doing research and spearheading product development, which is ultimately how we met. See, Ryan worked for one of the formulation labs that my company uses to develop our products. In fact, Ryan's research is behind some of the biggest and most successful supplement brands in the world. And as you're about to discover, it was Ryan's research on the evil rogue blood pressure molecule and its fix that ended up blowing the lid off the medical establishment's treatment of high blood pressure, ultimately saving my life and the lives of countless thousands more, just like it could for you today. Imagine a life free of the worries that are currently plaguing your mind, the worry that something in your body isn't right, and that you can't do anything about it but wait for it to strike you down. Imagine a life where you don't have to think about the health of your heart and blood vessels, where you can make the most of every day fear-free, whether that means a long walk through your nearest mountain trail, playing with your own grandchildren, or even having fun with your partner, if you know what I'm saying. This is possible, believe me. You see, it turns out that at the time of my heart attack, Ryan was out of the country working on a research project in northern Africa, so he didn't hear about it until he returned. And as soon as he did, he called me right away. The next morning, I found myself sitting in his lab, filling him in on everything I had been through, my heart attack, the high blood pressure, and even my poor granddaughter. I told him about all the research I was doing to get my pressure under control naturally. But everywhere I looked, it just ended up a dead end. I told him that it seems as if the powers that be keep information hidden from you, making it hard for anyone to find any sort of alternative solution to prescription drugs and surgery. And that's when he chimed in. He said, "Jerry, you're right. They don't want you to know. Why do you think I dropped out of medical school? I felt like I was selling my soul to the devil. They don't want you to find a natural solution," Ryan continued. "I saw it with my own eyes back in medical school, trying to think for yourself, challenging the current way of doing things. It's all frowned upon, especially if what you're doing actually helps make people well. Jerry, even as a second-year medical student, I would constantly get invited to lavish dinner parties hosted by pharmaceutical companies. I was given tickets to sporting events, concerts, you name it. The indoctrination starts early. They want you to get hooked on all the perks that come with pushing their products." Right then, he pulled out a copy of an article published in the New England Journal of Medicine. It showed that 94% of doctors surveyed admitted to having some sort of intimate relationship with the pharmaceutical industry. He also told me about a report from an industry watch group called ProPublica, which showed that doctors who received payments or gifts from pharmaceutical companies were as much as 3 times more likely to prescribe a brand-name drug over cheaper and safer alternatives. "It's a never-ending party, and I wanted no part of it," Ryan said. "That's why I switched to research. I love actually finding solutions to health problems. It's much more rewarding. Plus, I get to travel to some pretty remote places around the world to do my research. That's what took me to Africa. I was researching plants that have been shown to help fight against heart and blood vessel issues." When I heard that, I immediately cut him off. "So did you find anything that could help me lower my blood pressure?" I asked. He just looked at me, smiled, and said, "I sure did. Why do you think I called you? In fact, I've discovered a natural 7-second blood pressure fix that works by eliminating the true cause of high blood pressure. But before I share it with you," he said, "you need to understand the true cause of high blood pressure." Next, Ryan went on to explain the rogue molecule I mentioned earlier that's clamping down hard on your arteries. He said that while most doctors will try to say it's genetic, or it's caused by being overweight or from smoking, drinking too much alcohol, or eating too much salt, it doesn't explain why people like me, who exercise, eat right, and take care of ourselves, suddenly drop dead from heart attacks. He explained that even with drugs like the ones I was given, the statistics still don't work out in our favor. In other words, there was a very good chance that I could have another cardiac episode, and the next time, it could be deadly. No wonder my granddaughter was so scared to be around me. In fact, one major study following 39,705 people found the risk of cardiovascular mortality was still 1.5-fold higher for those taking high blood pressure medications. It's not just your weight or what you eat or even your genetics, Ryan explained. Instead, it all comes down to the rogue blood pressure molecule that's got an iron grip around your vessels, arteries, and heart. Ryan explained that its scientific name is superoxide anion. And if that sounds scary, good. Because according to cutting-edge research published in the leading journal Hypertension, superoxide anion is the primary cause of high blood pressure. And when there are high levels of this molecule in your blood, your heart and vessels don't stand a chance. Scientists have known about molecules like this for over 100 years. But it wasn't until researchers at the University of California discovered that they could induce high blood pressure and bring it back to normal by simply changing the level of this rogue molecule in the body that scientists made the connection between it and blood pressure. And here's why. The rogue blood pressure molecule superoxide anion causes DNA damage, and this DNA damage is what leads to attacks and weakens your blood vessels. But when your body tries to repair itself, it has a hard time because DNA damage also affects key proteins involved in vascular repair, which means that not only is this rogue superoxide anion assaulting your blood vessels, arteries, and heart, wounding them in the process, your body can't fully heal either, which is why your blood pressure rises higher and higher, and your risk of strokes, heart attacks, and even death climbs higher and higher every day as this rogue molecule goes unchecked. This was a shocking revelation, and it got worse. Ryan went on to tell me that the second thing that superoxide anion does is potentially even more damaging. This rogue molecule also lowers your production of nitric oxide. Now, you may have heard of nitric oxide before, or NO as it's commonly called, thanks to the popularity of male performance drugs like Viagra. And the reason why Viagra works so well is the fact that it sends a rush of NO to your private parts, which causes the blood vessels to dilate and expand. Then, this same process happens in blood vessels all over your body. In fact, what the research shows is that the number one way to keep your blood vessels open wide and expanded is by increasing your NO production. NO causes your blood vessels to dilate and open, which allows blood to flow through them effortlessly. In turn, it takes the pressure off your heart and keeps it from being overworked, which is why you might already be taking a supplement designed to boost your nitric oxide levels. Sounds straightforward so far, right? And it is. In fact, this exact process is something our body is pretty efficient at doing. Ryan explained that the problem is as we get older, our level of the rogue blood pressure molecule superoxide anion gets higher, and high levels of superoxide anion can actually inactivate nitric oxide. They do it by splitting nitric oxide into two parts, nitrite and nitrate, neither of which has been shown to dilate blood vessels. Again, this happens because our levels of the rogue superoxide anion rise as we get older, which is one of the reasons why in our teenage years, our 20s, and even into our 30s, NO production is usually not a problem. We tend to make plenty of nitric oxide, and it goes to our heart and our blood vessels and keeps them nice and open. That's why heart attacks are relatively rare in younger people, and so is high blood pressure. There's also very little risk of plaques or blood clots when you're young. But throughout life, our levels of superoxide anions and molecules like it accumulate. And as they do, NO production plummets, resulting in a spike in blood pressure. Where do these vessel-constricting rogue molecules come from? According to Ryan, the answer is everywhere. For starters, they're created by our own body during normal metabolic and cellular reactions, which usually isn't a problem as our body can filter them out, especially when we're younger. But we're also exposed to them in all sorts of different ways. They're in X-rays, ozone, cigarette smoke, air pollutants, and even common household products and chemicals that you probably use around the house most days. They also accumulate in your body, which means the more of these rogue molecules there are, the lower your NO levels go, and the more they attack your arteries, which is why high blood pressure usually comes on as we get older. In fact, one recent study published in the Journal of the American Heart Association found that after following 240 adults for 4 years and measuring their NO levels continuously, the subjects' NO levels got lower and lower with every passing year. And as NO gets lower, blood pressure rises, an average of 7 points per decade, according to a study published in the journal Hypertension. Studies also show a direct link between low levels of NO and heart problems. And according to research from places like the University of California and Vanderbilt, this drop in nitric oxide leads to the narrowing of your blood vessels and an increase in blood pressure. Plus, all this increased pressure causes your blood vessels to harden, spiking your blood pressure even more, until ultimately you have a near complete blockage like I did, resulting in a heart attack if you're lucky. I say lucky because the truth is, everything I've just described can lead to your abrupt death if left unaddressed. This is just a simple medical fact. But the good news is, addressing the rogue superoxide anions, restoring healthy levels of nitric oxide, can give you a much different future, a brighter future, where your blood pressure is low and arterial plaques are eliminated, where inflammation is calm and your heart and blood vessels begin to heal, where you wake up every day thankful to be alive and bursting with energy. Your hands and feet feel warm thanks to improved circulation as your aches and pains diminish due to healthy blood. You feel younger with almost unlimited stamina and endurance as you enjoy your favorite activities without worry or stress. How do I know? Because after Ryan told me this, he asked me to grab a pen and some paper off his desk. He continued, "Jerry, look, I'm under some pretty heavy legal restrictions when it comes to how much information I can share with you. As I already said, the real cause of high blood pressure is the rogue molecule superoxide anion and others like it. The solution is to lower your levels of this molecule while boosting your nitric oxide levels. I can share that with you because all the research is already published, but what I can't share with you is how to do that. But I will tell you this, there are nutrients that can do it. And while I can't share the specific details, that doesn't stop you from doing your own research. Write these ingredients down and look them up online and pay close attention to the first 5. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised by what you find." With that, we shook hands and I headed home. For the first time in months, I felt like there was hope. I could actually see a future spent with my granddaughter and maybe even a few other grandkids down the road. It made me smile from ear to ear. And that smile must have still been on my face because as soon as I walked in the door, my wife asked me, "What are you so happy about?" I just kept on smiling and said, "I think I have a solution." Then I locked myself in the office to begin my research. I'm going to share the 5 key nutrients with you in just a moment. Then I'll show you one specific way to take them so you get all of the most powerful blood pressure lowering benefits. Before I do, however, I would suggest you grab out a pen and paper like I did so that you can take some notes. Now, the first ingredient on the list Ryan gave me was hawthorn leaf. This plant has been a staple of Asian medicine for centuries, and just recently has been proved to dramatically lower the pressure in your arteries by blocking harmful molecules like superoxide anion. It has such a positive effect on circulation that it's often referred to as the vascular rose. Hawthorn contains compounds called oligomeric procyanidins and the flavonoid quercetin, both of which have been shown in studies published to the National Institute of Health to lower blood levels of the rogue molecule superoxide anion. Hawthorn extracts are also referred to as cardiotonic due to their ability to strengthen your heart. They work so well, in fact, that Germany recognizes them as drugs. They've even been shown to suppress blood clots and lower inflammation within the arteries. With just hawthorn leaf alone, you can begin to fight back against the rogue blood pressure molecule, releasing its vice-like hold on your arteries and heart, freeing yourself from ever having to worry about the risk of a cardiac event. But this is just the start. The next ingredient Ryan told me to find was something called hibiscus flower. Much like hawthorn, it's packed with the superoxide anion busting power of quercetin and other compounds called anthocyanins, which have been shown to scavenge and destroy the rogue molecule. In one study done by the American Heart Association, researchers found that people who drank a tea containing hibiscus flower dropped their systolic blood pressure by an average of 7.2 points in just 6 weeks. And the volunteers with the highest blood pressure at the start of the study saw their systolic blood pressure drop an average of 13.2 points. Are you starting to see a pattern? These powerful ingredients are full of compounds that eliminate superoxide anions, so they're incredibly effective at lowering your blood pressure. Next up was the nutrient olive leaf extract. Olive leaves have been used for healing dating way back to ancient Egypt, and their ability to lower blood pressure has more recently been confirmed. Once again, olive leaf is rich in compounds proven to lower blood levels of superoxide anion. And when researchers from Germany and Switzerland looked at how sets of identical twins with borderline high blood pressure responded to olive leaf extract, they found something pretty remarkable. They found that those taking the highest dose of olive leaf extract dropped their blood pressure by 11 points, while those who didn't take it saw their blood pressure go up by an average of 2 points. And get this, the twins who took the olive leaf extract also saw their cholesterol levels go down significantly, which, when you get to our age, is another important benefit. The next nutrient on Ryan's list was green tea extract. And as I looked into the research behind this powerful nutrient, I could once again see why Ryan included it. Green tea is also an abundant source of polyphenols, a compound shown to eliminate superoxide anion and other related molecules. And several recent studies have shown the powerful effect green tea has on blood pressure. In fact, in a recent meta-analysis published in Scientific Reports, researchers found a significant blood pressure lowering benefit. Just so you know, a meta-analysis is when researchers evaluate previous studies to determine their efficacy. In this case, they looked at 13 different clinical trials involving a staggering 1,367 human subjects. And the researchers found that in addition to its ability to eliminate superoxide anions, green tea is also a powerful nitric oxide booster. It's like a double whammy against high blood pressure. Now, I don't know about you, but for someone who was wrapped up in fear that my heart might one day explode, worried that my time with my precious granddaughter and the joy of spending our weekends together was over, terrified that I would not be around to see her graduate or get married, while at the same time dealing with the horrible symptoms of my prescribed medication, these ingredients so far seemed like a light at the end of the tunnel. Finally, I could see a future where I no longer needed to worry about the health of my blood vessels and heart, and I felt even more certain of this when I looked up the last ingredient on Ryan's list: garlic. See, according to the latest science, eating garlic provides a wide range of health benefits, but its ability to inhibit the production of rogue superoxide anions makes it a powerful blood pressure lowering nutrient. In one study, Australian researchers found that garlic lowered blood pressure and improved arterial stiffness similar to that of common first-line blood pressure medications. But, and you'll love this, without the side effects. In total, Ryan gave me these 5 blood pressure lowering ingredients that focus on the elimination of the rogue superoxide anion molecule. But that wasn't all. You see, at the bottom of this superoxide anion busting ingredient list, Ryan also told me the precise way to prepare the ingredients to bring my blood pressure back down to 120/80. This actually turned out to be the hardest part of all, because even though many of the ingredients could be found online or at my local store, these ingredients were not good enough if I want to truly eliminate the rogue blood pressure molecule. The reason why is that it was almost impossible to verify the quality of the more commonly found version of these ingredients. More often than not, what you find sold in major retailers are cheap ingredients in fancy packaging designed to make a ton of money for the seller. But when it comes to you and me, these ingredients simply don't have the quality they need to make a difference. Not to mention, even if you could find these ingredients in their best form, you would still need to ensure they were prepared the right way, and in the exact quantities that Ryan knew to be the most effective way to bring your blood pressure down. So I started searching for the highest quality versions of each ingredient one by one. To my surprise, the only place I could find them was overseas. And wow, they were expensive. Don't worry, because I would soon go on to find a way to dramatically bring the cost down and make them ultra affordable for everyday folks like you and me. But when I thought about my heart, the deadly risks caused by my blood pressure, and most importantly, my granddaughter, who I couldn't let down, I knew I had to find a way to get these ingredients shipped over to the United States. Well, if you remember, I'm no chemist, but I do work at a supplement company. So I decided to take the ingredients, as well as Ryan's preparation instructions that must be followed perfectly, to the product development team. I told them the full story of how I'd suffered a heart attack while riding a roller coaster with my granddaughter, how afterward I dedicated myself to finding out why my blood pressure was high and finding a natural way to lower it. And I also told them about my conversation with Ryan, what he recommended, and how it all worked. That was all they needed to hear, because they immediately gave it their stamp of approval. And with that, we were off to the races. The company took care of everything. They even brought in a few of their top scientists to take a look at the formula. And with their help, we increased the potency and enhanced both absorption and bioavailability. They also added a few more ingredients to make it even better at fighting back against the rogue molecule, boosting your nitric oxide levels and generally putting you on the fast track back to 120/80. These ingredients are juniper berry, uva ursi and bushu leaf, vitamin C, niacin, vitamin B6, folate or folic acid, and vitamin B12. Plus, they were able to bring the cost down considerably thanks to their sourcing connections. And when it was all said and done, they recommended I take it for at least 90 days to allow my body to adapt and my blood vessels to open. Now, during my research, each ingredient looked like a star all by itself, but when combined, the formula ended up being more powerful than I ever imagined. Not only did it now have the potential to safely, quickly, and easily lower my blood pressure, it could simultaneously clear out any dead plaque in my arteries. Yet, with all of its potential, I was still the first person to try it. And luckily, instead of having to wait 3 months for the product to ship from overseas, worrying about mixing the correct amount of each ingredient and then trying to figure out exactly how much to take while spending thousands of dollars, I only had to wait about 3 weeks. And once I got my first bottle, I shook one tiny capsule into my hand. I looked at it in amazement. You could tell these capsules were high quality. A moment later, I had no problem swallowing it with some water. Now I fully expected that it would take some time to see results. After all, it took years for me to get to this point. But to my surprise, the results were almost instant. Within a day or two, I could literally feel my blood vessels open up, bringing a flood of warmth to my fingers and toes once again. Plus, my skin took on a healthy pink glow, and my mind seemed sharper and less foggy. But the moment of truth came later in the week. I took my blood pressure like I did every morning and afternoon, and usually, even with my medication, it would read somewhere around 139/82. But that afternoon, it was 134/79. 2 weeks later, it was 130/72. Then another week later, 127/68. Before long, it went all the way down to 119/79. And that's where it has stayed. I'd finally brought my blood pressure down, but I wouldn't be happy until my granddaughter saw me as the strong, larger-than-life grandpa I used to be. Sure, by this point, my doctor had suggested we cut back on my medication. My resting heart rate had come down to around 64 beats per minute. My wife was saying I looked younger, and those nasty side effects from the drugs were completely gone. But the biggest reason I spent so long searching for the answers was the relationship I had with my granddaughter. I wanted her to see me as healthy, as someone who could protect her, and it didn't take long before I had this opportunity. I was walking with my granddaughter near the river behind my house, when out of the corner of my eye, I saw something move. It was a rattlesnake. As soon as I saw it, I calmly picked my granddaughter up and ran as far as I could. And as I sat her back down, not even out of breath, I realized that my heart and blood pressure would never have been able to handle a scare like that a few weeks ago, let alone the physical stress of picking her up and running with her. I was finally back. And when I looked over at my granddaughter, I could tell that she was no longer worried for me. Instead, she was beaming ear to ear. And she said, "Wow, you saved me from being eaten, Grandpa." Of course, she didn't know the real threat from a rattlesnake was its venom. But in that moment, I knew she would never be scared that I would topple over, clutching my chest, ever again. And it meant the world to me. Which is why what I did next was so important. See, after my incredible comeback, I made it my life's mission to help others live without the fear or consequences of high blood pressure. And with my company having now created the first batch of this incredible formula, a formula that quickly, safely, and naturally destroys the rogue blood pressure molecule, I knew I had a way to help anyone, man or woman, young or old, deal with their excessively high blood pressure for good, and as you'll soon see, at a price anyone can afford. Which is why I'm happy to introduce to you the only natural blood pressure formula specifically designed to eliminate the root cause of high blood pressure rogue superanion molecules, CardioShield. So far, everyone that I've shared this formula with swears by it. Word is spreading fast, and for good reason. None of the solutions out there come anywhere close to addressing the real cause of high blood pressure, which is why so many blood pressure formulas and treatments out there simply don't work. But when folks use CardioShield, they get results. Like John C. He says, "I've always struggled with high blood pressure. I've been on atenolol 25 every day. I decided to try this product after reading all the reviews, and I'm glad I did. I only take 2 capsules a day after breakfast and dinner, and have found a great difference in my BP readings. My BP used to be 150/90, always, and now it's consistent about 120/80. This product works. I highly recommend this product." And Mary R., she says, "It lowered my BP within a few hours, from around 165/95 to 122/76. The following morning, BP was 120/77. I will never take a prescription for BP due to all the complications. So nice to find this great product." Finally, Jennifer W. had this to say, "I was skeptical initially. However, after reading the reviews, I knew I had to try this. Myself and my husband lost our medical insurance, and it's been a struggle. I recently went in for some family planning services only to be turned away. My BP was 180/120. I was in disbelief. and came home and began constantly taking my blood pressure. It was high, but not as high as I was told it was. I was consistently 160/108, but my husband was even higher. After 3 days of taking these pills, my BP went way down. I can say I'm a believer and that I'll keep taking natural supplements over prescription meds. And now you can join them. Imagine finally breaking free from a life limited by high blood pressure, a life free of medication, regular doctor visits, cardiologist appointments, and prescription copays, a life free from side effects like extreme fatigue, dizziness, and body aches, a life free from the constant worry in the back of your mind that any set of stairs, any kind of physical exertion, or even a loud noise or surprise could burst your heart like a needle pop in a balloon. You have the ability to take back control over your health and your future with CardioShield. Look, if you have high blood pressure, then your health is at risk. It's that simple. And frankly, you owe it to yourself and to those who love you to at least give CardioShield a try. Because study after study shows that there is a direct link between high levels of the rogue blood pressure molecule in your blood and high blood pressure. And that can lead to a heart attack, an aneurysm, or even a stroke. And it doesn't have to be this way. Because with each dose of CardioShield, you hold the key to free-flowing healthy blood pressure. Now at this point, you're probably asking how you can get your hands on CardioShield for yourself, along with how often you need to take it for the best results. To be honest, I wish it was easier for folks to gain access to this breakthrough. Because my goal in creating this presentation and creating CardioShield was to make it possible for every single American currently at risk to regain the confidence and peace of mind that comes from having a healthy blood pressure. If you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, or beyond, this message is even more timely, because that's when your superoxide anion levels really begin to climb, ultimately reaching critical levels and pushing your blood pressure sky high. So high that at any moment you could end up like I did, clutching your chest, gasping for air, and praying that you live long enough to see your loved ones again. I never want to see you go through this. Now, even though my goal is to help as many Americans as I can to address the rogue molecule that's causing your blood pressure worries, the truth is that because every single bottle of CardioShield needs to be produced in a fully accredited, state-of-the-art GMP-certified facility, then kept fresh through the special encapsulation process, which only a handful of manufacturing facilities in the world are capable of, it's a time-consuming and meticulous process to produce each bottle. And because CardioShield is packed with proven blood pressure lowering, blood vessel supporting, and nitric oxide boosting ingredients, pretty much everyone who tries CardioShield keeps asking for more, because they never again want to feel the stress and worry of walking around with a bullseye on their back, at risk of a heart attack or stroke. In fact, word is even spread throughout the healthcare community, making CardioShield extremely popular, which couldn't be more exciting. Unfortunately, it also puts a huge strain on our production, especially since it takes up to 6 months or more to custom create each batch because of the global supply chain issues we're facing right now, which experts believe could last for years longer. We often sell out, and I frequently don't have any CardioShield available for the public. That being said, I also don't want anyone tossing and turning, worrying about what will happen if their heart decides to stop on them, or they suffer a stroke and lose the ability to care for themselves. That's why, in the next few moments, I'll show you how you can get your hands on your very own supply of CardioShield at a price anyone can afford. I'll also show you how you can try it today risk-free. It's all part of our new Save the Hearts of America campaign. But first, let me answer that other question. How much CardioShield do you need to take? That's simple. Just take one easy-to-swallow capsule twice a day for at least 30 days. And the reason why it's important that you take CardioShield for at least 30 days is pretty straightforward. While the superoxide anion neutralizing ingredients inside CardioShield go to work pretty much immediately, what many clinical studies have shown is that our exposure to this rogue blood pressure molecule is ongoing. And the longer and more consistently you take each of these ingredients, the healthier your blood pressure will be. So while some of the ingredients go to work in as little as a few hours, other ingredients don't reach their peak effectiveness for weeks or even months. That's not to say that those ingredients won't help your blood pressure on day one. They will. It just means that the longer you keep using these ingredients, the more power you'll have against the rogue superoxide anions that are currently constricting your blood vessels. Plus, as the levels of CardioShield in your system grows, the lower your blood pressure goes, the more relaxed your blood vessels become, and the less your heart has to work over time. And unlike many of the blood pressure drugs out there that can cost thousands of dollars per month, the most CardioShield costs is just a few pennies per day. More on that in a second. And this is why I recommend that you choose at least 3 bottles of CardioShield today, or 6 bottles if you want to be protected long term. The moment you secure your order, you get to join the thousands of folks across the U.S. who were once worried that each day could be their last. Folks who are now calling CardioShield a lifesaver. And today, this is your opportunity to join them. Now, you should know that CardioShield is only available on this website while there are supplies in stock, and while I'm able to keep this webpage up. After all, we fully anticipate some sort of resistance from the powers that be once they become aware of this letter, because they're not going to be very happy to hear that a little guy like me is tapping into their $140 billion cash cow. That's not even taking into consideration the doctors who make a very good living performing bypass surgery and putting in stents. They've been able to purchase luxury cars, second and even third homes, and go on all sorts of exotic vacations thanks to your high blood pressure. With CardioShield, though, they may be forced to take a few less vacations each year and live in only one house like the rest of us, which is why they'd love to take this letter off the web as fast as they can. So if you're here right now and there are bottles of CardioShield in stock, it's vital that you act now and grab yours while you still can. If you delay even by a couple of hours, you could return to this webpage and find an error message because we sold out. So please, say yes to this opportunity right now. Because after all, using CardioShield will make you feel like you've gone back in time to when you were younger and had healthy blood pressure and open free-flowing arteries. A time before all the negative damage caused by years of stress and the accumulation of free radicals. Plus, every day that you take your dose of CardioShield is another day of living with peace of mind, because you'll know for certain that you're doing everything in your power to keep your blood pressure low and your heart healthy. And when you consider that CardioShield really can do all of this for you, you can probably understand why the board of directors at my company wanted me to set the price of this breakthrough formula at $149 per bottle, which, even though we'll ask for a lot less, would be extremely fair, especially considering that the fact that heart disease is America's #1 killer and that every day people suffer from heart attacks and heart failure or have strokes. Even if you're lucky enough to survive any of those catastrophes, the financial hit can be just as devastating, often amounting to tens of thousands of dollars, even with the best insurance plans. And God forbid you require long-term care. Those costs can easily quadruple. With that being said, I know that we could easily charge $149 for a bottle of CardioShield, and I'd still sleep soundly at night. But this isn't about making a buck for me. It's about being grateful that I was given a second chance and an opportunity to make a difference. When I collapsed during my massive heart attack and felt that crushing weight sitting on my chest, my life flashed before my eyes. And while in that moment I was technically the victim, the real victim was my granddaughter, who had to watch as her strong, larger-than-life grandpa suddenly became as helpless as a baby. I can't imagine what that would have done to her had I not made it. But it doesn't have to be that way for you. You don't have to go through a near-death experience like I did. All of which is why if you decide to take action right now and say yes to the powerful blood pressure fix that is CardioShield, you won't need to spend $149 for a bottle, or even $99. Instead, by taking action today, you can order CardioShield for just $59 per bottle. And that's just the beginning, because so many studies are showing that the longer you take the ingredients inside CardioShield, the more you can benefit from them. And because so many people have been ordering multiple bottles of CardioShield at a time so they can share them with their family and friends, my team and I have created an even deeper discount opportunity for you. Where right now, when you stock up on 6 bottles of CardioShield, instead of paying $59 a bottle, that price becomes just $39, savings of $20 per bottle. Plus, you'll get free shipping too. So go ahead and get started now by clicking on one of the packages of CardioShield that you see below this presentation and placing your order. The 6-bottle package means you're getting a full 6-month supply of CardioShield. plus the biggest savings. And no matter whether you choose the most popular 6-bottle package, or you decide to start with 3 bottles, or even 1, you'll still be making a decision today that is 100% risk-free. Because your CardioShield order comes with my full 180-day, 100% money-back guarantee. It works like this. Right now, simply click on one of the packages you see below. Once you do that, you'll be taken to my 100% secure and encrypted checkout page, where you'll simply enter your shipping and billing details, then confirm your order. Your supply of CardioShield will be shipped right to your front door from our US-based warehouse, and you'll receive it in approximately 3 to 5 business days. Once your bottles of CardioShield arrive, I want you to tear open that box. Grab your first bottle and start using CardioShield every single day. When you do, I'm confident that you'll feel an amazing difference. And after you've had a chance to take it for a few months, you'll never want to be without it. You'll never want to go another day without this blood pressure breakthrough. But if for any reason I'm wrong, if you aren't head over heels in love with your experience using CardioShield, then you don't pay a dime. Instead, all you have to do is call or email my US-based customer service team. They'll arrange for you to send back your bottles, opened or unopened, full or empty. And then, once we've received the bottles, we'll refund your entire investment with no questions asked. Look, you've all seen the science and the studies showing that the rogue blood pressure molecule, superoxide anion, is the primary cause of high blood pressure. You've seen how the key to healthy blood pressure, soft, flexible, and open blood vessels, better circulation, and a healthy heart, all comes down to your ability to protect yourself from these rogue molecules. And you've seen how the powerful ingredients inside CardioShield do just that, giving you and your heart a new lease on life. And yet, even with that being the case, you still get a full 180 days to decide if CardioShield is right for you. So go ahead and click on one of the packages you see below right now and place your order for CardioShield while there are still bottles in stock. And while it's true that you can ignore everything you've read here today, including the incredible study showing that the ingredients in CardioShield can rid your body of excessive free radicals while promoting healthy blood pressure and keeping your heart safe, it's ultimately up to you. And if that's what you decide to do, I fully support you. In fact, I pray that you stay healthy and out of harm's way. I'll just also be worried for you too, because I know all too well that if you don't do something about your high blood pressure, whether it's CardioShield or something else, then nothing is going to change. Just imagine it's 3 months from now, and you're lying wide awake in bed, your heart pounding, your mind racing, worried about what would happen to those you love most if you were no longer around. What would happen if your heart, your blood vessels, or your brain suddenly became the victim of your out-of-control blood pressure? When you had the chance to claim your very own supply of CardioShield at a huge savings while there were still bottles in stock? Would you feel a little bit of regret that you didn't try this amazing breakthrough risk-free today? If the answer is even a maybe, then you owe it to yourself and your family to make the smarter, easier choice, which is to say yes to CardioShield right now. So go ahead. Click on one of those packages below and claim your very own supply of this healthy blood pressure breakthrough while it's still available to the public and there are bottles in stock. Your decision today is covered by a full 180-day, 100% money-back guarantee, so you truly have nothing to lose and an entirely new lease on life to gain. Ultimately, the decision is yours, but I trust you'll make the same choice that countless thousands of American men and women have made on this very webpage and continue to make every day. The choice to take control and get your blood pressure under control once and for all. Seriously, this is it. It's time to make the decision. Either you continue to live in fear that at any moment your heart could explode, or you start living life on your own terms again with CardioShield. I wish you the best, and I hope you make the right decision to get your blood pressure under control. Your friend, Jerry Williams. Frequently asked questions. Question number 1. What is this rogue molecule again, and how does it affect my blood pressure? The rogue blood pressure molecule is called superoxide anion, and it affects key proteins involved in vascular repair. What that means is that not only is the rogue molecule assaulting your blood vessels, arteries, and heart, but it keeps your vessels from healing. It also lowers your production of nitric oxide, which is what your body uses to control the dilation of your blood vessels. Low nitric oxide levels lead to a constriction of your blood vessels and an increase in blood pressure. This is why the rogue blood pressure molecule should be addressed ASAP. Question number 2. What's inside of CardioShield again that makes it work so well? CardioShield contains a variety of nutrients proven to block the effects of superoxide anion. and supports healthy circulation and blood flow by stimulating the production of nitric oxide. You can see the label here. Question number 3. What makes CardioShield different from other blood pressure supplements? CardioShield was specifically formulated to address the primary cause of high blood pressure, the superoxide anion, aka the rogue blood pressure molecule. It does this by using extracts from powerful plants like hawthorn, olive leaf, green tea, and garlic. They've all been shown to help support healthy blood pressure and protect your blood vessels from damage. Question number 4. What benefits can I expect from CardioShield? The biggest benefit that people experience is a significant drop in their blood pressure, an improvement in circulation, and better heart health. At the same time, people report having better energy, more confidence, and a more positive outlook on life. Question number 5. Is it safe? Yes. All of the ingredients inside CardioShield have been shown to be safe in clinical trials, and we haven't received any reports of negative side effects from people using CardioShield. However, since every person is different, it's important to consult your doctor when trying any new supplement and monitor how you feel after the first couple days of taking it. Question number 6. How does the guarantee work again? You have a full 180 days to try CardioShield out, and if for any reason, or no reason at all, you're not happy, just contact our support team. Their details will be on your receipt, which will be emailed to you immediately after your payment has been accepted. They'll arrange for you to return your bottles, used or unused, empty or full. Once we've received the bottles back, we will issue a full refund. No questions asked. Question number 7. How can I order today? It couldn't be simpler. Just choose the package that's right for you below. You'll be taken to a secure order page to enter your details. Once you have, we'll start preparing your order for you right away. Remember, you're protected by our 100% satisfaction guarantee for a full 180 days from your order date, and there are no hidden fees, subscriptions, or auto pays. I can't wait to hear your blood pressure success story. Choose your package now.